Thank you. Introduction of bills. The member from Simcoe Grey.
Mr. Speaker, I move that leave be given to introduce a bill entitled An Act to Deal with Arbitration in the Public Sector, and that it now be read for the first time.
Mr. Wilson moves leave be given to introduce a bill entitled An Act to Deal with Arbitration in the Public Sector, and now be read for the first time. This is the pleasure of the House. The motion carried.
This is a bill entitled An Act to Deal with Arbitration in the Public Sector. First reading of the bill. Premier Lecture du Projet-Loi.
The member for a short statement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this bill enacts the Ability to Pay Act 2012. The legislation is designed to address arbitrator decisions in recent years where public sector unions received settlements far in excess of the growth in the economy. The result was to place a heavy burden on taxpayers at the Ontario and local levels as governments struggled with record deficits and a lagging economy. These decisions were allowed to happen because the interest arbitration system in Ontario is broken. It's broken because public sector unions, unlike their private sector counterparts, do not have to moderate demands to prevent putting their companies out of business. Public sector unions simply don't face these pressures because they assume governments will just raise taxes or run deficits on the backs of future generations. Our legislation seeks to correct this inequity and requires the consideration be given to local economic and sectorial-related costs vis-à-vis a public employer's ability to pay. The Progressive Conservative Ability to Pay Act will, if passed, achieve three main things: establish a permanent panel of independent arbitrators chosen by the minister, list specific criteria arbitrators must use when rendering decisions, and explain in writing how and why decisions were made, and creates an independent wage board within the Ministry of Finance called the Ability to Pay Division to assess and monitor decisions made by arbitrators. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.